Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening because we're going to be playing a work-in-progress demo core of Salamander on Konami's Nemesis hardware. RCA Victor sent this over to me for testing and to do a video, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And while this core is not done, you'd be hard-pressed to tell that it wasn't complete because honestly in my playthrough I was really struggling to find anything in the visual, sound, or gameplay department that made me think this was anything other than a finished core. Before we get too far involved, it'd be a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Salamander is an absolutely epic arcade shmup from Konami, and it is just so much fun to play. It's based on the Nemesis hardware running a Motorola 68000, which was basically the CPU of choice back in the day for so many different arcade manufacturers. And while the 68000 has been buttoned up on MiSTer for a very long time, a lot of the custom hardware that somebody like Konami would put on the boards definitely needed to have a little bit of revision done and a little bit more code to make it work. And you'll see here I do take a few deaths. I've always been a little bit crap at Salamander. It is a very difficult game. It definitely wants your quarters, so you're going to have to put the time in to better understand exactly what it's asking of you. And every once in a while I do think that the hitbox on Salamander is a little bit cruel compared to some other shmups of the time. But honestly, it's such a great game. It's got so many fun visuals that's worth checking out. So you'll see here in the test core, we do get some dip switch options, the different lives you have, the different coin slots, the difficulty, as well as that demo screen sound. You can flip the screen, basically do anything you could have done in the dip switches on actual arcade hardware. Then you just need to reset the core to make sure those changes persist. So it is great to have all of the different diverse options that would be on the dip package on the PCB on the actual core. And if we take a look at the visuals and the overall performance, this just looks absolutely spectacular. If I didn't tell you I was playing a test core on MiSTer FPGA and just did a review of this game and said I was using an original arcade board or even MAME, I don't think anyone would really be able to tell. RCA Victor Co. has done an amazing job getting this core up until this point in time, working this well, and I'm sure you'll probably see it on Update All relatively soon, hopefully maybe in a week or two, but honestly I have no real ETA. Just remember that this game again can be very difficult. If you die in the wrong spot, you're gonna have to do something like run through this wall right here without any power-ups that you need to shoot. But that is Salamander. It absolutely punishes you if you die at the wrong time, but if you get all of the power-ups, you can absolutely decimate your opponent at the same time. So you really have to play carefully and decide when to go on offense and when to try to go on defense. But I absolutely love the double arm brain here. Such a classic Salamander image, maybe only rivaled by the flame dragon that you'll see later on in the video. But see there, I did die when I got close to the brain. I've seen that happen on real hardware as well as emulation as well, so it seems like maybe some of the hitboxes are a little cruel on Konami's side, but I have seen that again playing this on a real arcade PCB. So the core is doing exactly what the game would do, and sometimes that means it's going to be a little bit cheap. But as we go into the vertical stages here, the star field scrolling, the little bit of parallax, all of the sprites on screen at once again, I really can't find anything here that doesn't just look like Salamander. So if you play this game a ton, take a close look at the visuals and see if you notice anything. And I'll give you a sound sample in just a moment as well, because the sound hardware on implementation here in FPGA sounds absolutely spectacular, and again, nothing I can really detect to my ear that doesn't sound correct. But again, I'm not the best at Salamander, so do be prepared to see me die more than a few times in this review video. But the great part is there's no real quarters changing hands, so I can just keep playing this over and over again and try to get better at it. And hopefully that means we'll also see some more Konami cores coming from people that aren't Hotego, because he seems to be leading the charge. But here comes that sound sample. Get a good earful of what Salamander sounds like, see if you think it's accurate to what you remember, and I'll be right back to show you some more gameplay of an awesome shmup.
An intruder has penetrated our force field.
sounds awesome to me. All the voices, all the reverb, all the classic Salamander music. I really can't detect anything that doesn't seem correct, but again, I am not an audio expert. I'm a very visual person. That's the medium that I work in, so sometimes you guys hear things that I don't. So tell me down below if there's anything about that didn't just sound like the original Salamander. And this stage right here with these lava bursts coming out, or maybe solar flares, is probably the most iconic stage in the entire game. And this is one, if you haven't played Salamander before, you're going to have to memorize and learn, because you get a little audio cue when there's a solar flare about ready to come out. But if you don't know the direction it's coming from, it moves quite fast and you're never going to be able to get out of the way in time. So Salamander is the type of game, kind of like something like Pulsar on Neo Geo, where multiple playthroughs are going to get you better at the game, and when you know where all of these flares are going to come from, then it basically becomes a free level until you get to the boss. Not to say that there's not enemies that are not going to try to attack you, but once you understand the patterns in this game, that's when it really does open up. And I know a lot of people will play Salamander once or twice, feel like the game is absolutely killing them, and then never come back to it again, and I've been guilty of that in the past. But take it from me, just play this game once it's available on MiSTer FPGA, and you're going to have an absolutely awesome time. And on the work in progress core front, all of these solar flare effects here, all of the different animations look spectacular. Even that parallax scrolling star field, or at least they seem parallax to me, like some are closer and some are further away. All of those pixels are going to shift their color just like they would on real hardware. And now that we get to this gigantic flame dragon, again, just an iconic part of the game, and one where if you learn the pattern, which I remembered pretty quickly, you can basically just get him to go around in a circle and avoid every single shot he has, because his motion is going to be dictated by how you move your ship on the screen. And that's something that in an FPGA core the logic needs to be correct for, or else you would instantaneously notice that the behavior in game wasn't adhering to what it was in an actual arcade board or even MAME emulation. That's one of those things that isn't visual, it's just based on feel. Can you make the game do the same thing you would do on real hardware? And in Salamander's instance, I had no issues with doing that whatsoever, and that really is a testament to just how good of a job RCA Victor has done here. And he definitely likes to post on Twitter showing different chip teardowns and other things that he's working on, so definitely give him a follow if you haven't already, and I'll leave a link to his Twitter down below as well, because he posts some really interesting information, kind of how the sausage gets made part of MiSTer FPGA. We're actually doing different chip scans and kind of reverse engineering the logic and the gates within the actual CPUs and other chips that would have been used on this hardware back in the day. That's something I really love. I know some people aren't super interested in how MiSTer FPGA works, they just like the fact that it does work, but if you are interested in any of that technical aspect, his Twitter definitely is an awesome resource to check stuff like that out. And as we get into the next stage here, I've always loved that Salamander switches around between a horizontal shmup and a vertical or tate shmup. It gives you a lot of versatility for one game, but again, be prepared to die, because you'll see here I did end up running out of credits, because this game has a strange continue system as far as how many coins you're enabled to put in. And there are different versions of this game. Obviously Salamander was also known as Life Force, but at the time of recording this voiceover, it is just the Salamander version D ROM that is going to work for this core. But I'm sure as things come up more, there's going to be more options. And you'll see here again, you can have max credits, you can have difficulty settings, you basically have that granular control to decide how to play the game however you want. But again, just remember, this is the type of title that is going to make you learn what's going on. You'll see here we even get a couple video options, pretty bare bones at this point in time, but it gets the job done. But definitely when this is available to play to the public, check it out, give it a go, sit down with it, and definitely give it an hour or two of your time. It's the type of game that right off the start, if you've never played it before, feels absolutely cruel, but once you learn the patterns, what the game's asking of you, you can get quite good quite quickly. And again, this really has that sort of Pulsar feel to me, where the first time you play the game, you think you suck, and then you realize you just haven't learned what you're supposed to do. Just be prepared to tap the fire button like it owes you money, because you absolutely can shoot through this wall if you're not powered up. But I say Victor Co's done a great job, and get prepared to start playing some Salamander soon. Bye bye.
Pick it up for multiple